Welcome to the Ice Turner Experience. It's something you can't define, but you can only experience with me. Now, earlier there were some slight technical difficulties, uh, you know, niggling the technology aspect, um, but I managed to have something, for you. Currently, it's being viewed, but it's actually being, shadow banned. Rather interesting, right? But the views are there; it's picking up, and sometimes, you know, there are, other hidden forces that, try to keep, the light and the salt from surfacing. You know, the truth taking place. You know, and I'm here to basically bear a true witness of exactly what is, you know, masculinity and excellence and all its strength and understanding and ultimacy. Certain things really actually cause me to think about, you know, what is, salt, what is light. I believe I've communicated that before about, being that light, you know, and that light of mine that illuminated one. And I believe I've vaguely touched on what is salt. You know, there's, I would say a hidden meaning to that. I don't really believe that it's something that's optional, um, based on, my experience. You know, I believe women are who they are, but it's actually willed in us to become, you know, both the salt and the light of the world. And there's a reason to that. I'm gonna break down the hidden meanings, as I'm just allowing everything to just flow, you know. Now just think about this for a second. If a man's path, you know, being as, the salt and the light of the world. Now, if you look at the world is the world around us, but is also the world that that we don't see, you know, which is the four corners of our mind as the cube of our understanding. Okay, and the cube of our understanding gets folded into the central axis in a cross-like form. So that makes sense to you? You know, square, the altar, the pyramid, the temple of God, the temple of man. It's all the same thing, right? There's other physical examples of who we are. Now, if you were to look at the salt, now the salt of who you are, when it dissolves inwardly as your wisdom, is supposed to transform the flavor of your perspective. It's also something to think about. Now, what is the light? The light speaks as your testimony, as being a follower of your Christos, of the God you, which is revealing and lifting up and illuminating that truth as is in you. Now, being that what's going on, man cave? What's going on? Now, if you really think about it, when you look at being that salt, what does that salt represent? Well, being that salt, you embody the abundance through anchoring your spiritual manifestation, which is your energy. Now, this is your connection to the moon cycles. Remember the sun and the moon. The sun represents, son of God, son of you, the light. The moon, your state of consciousness. You know, the Quran has, represents the moon. The Bible represents the sun. Sun and moon worship, but just from it's much deeper than what was presented to us. But anyways, as it's the connection to your moon cycle or state of consciousness, leading you into a super consciousness, it's like a form of alchemy. That's the ability to transform the things around you. Just like what Freeport said before about having the ability to transform a woman's God. Well, not only just a woman's God. Okay. I mean, for an example, if you look at, what I've done or been doing, just even on YouTube for the last 18 months, the potency of what, I've been putting out here is transform the playing field. It's just a thought that became true. But anyways, the salt is symbolic to the body of Christ or Christos, the pineal gland, which is the rebirth and the resurrection and the immortality of the fallen self from being once dumb, deaf, and blind. See, the salt is also medicinal in its healing powers, providing vitality and longevity, just like the water represents the spirit. But get this, the salt dissolves in the water, but but later on proceeds through the water as new crystals or chrysalis. Interesting. See, this is a return of the 360 to energetic wholeness, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding within the mind. I was born underwater. Remember that? With 3/4 and 6 dimes. Yeah, you may laugh. That's because you didn't do your math. Now let's get back to this. The salt is a form of alchemy when broken down into its origin or original elements. Now, once it's done that, it's purified and then returned and integrated into the whole. This is with the salt. It's supposed to change your perspective. It's supposed to change the pigment of your lens. Okay? Now let's go back to the cube of our understanding, or our four corners of the world. Preaching the gospel to all four corners of the world. Planting that seed. What is the gospel? That's what I've been talking about. So a lot of times you have to basically preach to yourself. Speak healing into your own self to bring yourself back to life. Okay? Now, the salt derives from the sea, which is the 7 states of our consciousness. Although it's symbolic to the earth, through the ancient symbolism, due to its cubic crystal as the celestial sphere. See, when you look at the cube is the model of the temple. the temple of God. Going right back to what I was saying. The holy altar representing in four directions. Hmm? To six because of its six faces. Now, if you look at the six faces, it's the six figures, which is geometric, like I don't know, a hexagram or a Star of David, which is the union of male and female, the opposites. With the triangle going up, going down. Remember I said before, as far as you know, our phallus and the vagina, but in the non-anatomical sense, I'm speaking of the divine masculine and feminine principle. Now, remember the 6 days of creation? Hmm. And what does the six represent? Man, flesh. And I'm not being gender sensitive with that, like, oh, just manned it up, because it's like when God named Adam or Atom, you know, Atom, nucleus. He named him. He said he, she named Atom. Atom named Eve. See, this is where the woman gets her value from. The man that is walking as a salt and a light, he renames her, rebirths her, he heals her. Kind of like, Lazarus. He rise her from the death, from her own death, from her own fallen state, because the light lifts up. Oh yeah, yes indeed. I'm kind of tapping back into that element. It's slowly but surely. I think it's a necessary thing, man. You know, it needs to be expressed. Now, let's get back to that light, which represents understanding the principle of truth in your mind as your divine order that always derives from your consciousness as being lifted up. Remember, light lifts up. It shines upon the darkness. Remember how the earth was dark and void? Earth, your world, your mind was dark and void without light. Then God spoke light into that void. Okay? So the purpose of you being that light is to lift up, you know, other people and purify them with your perspective on things pertaining to life. But you first have to do it for yourself. See what you do, unto self, you can do unto others. How can you love others if you can't love yourself? How can you speak, light into that void in that woman's mind? How can you speak light to that young man's mind, that's lost in his own darkness and confusion and folly? See, a smart man learns from his mistakes. An even smarter man learns from others' mistakes. But a fool doesn't learn from either. And he gets what he deserves. Ignorance is expensive. Being stupid is very expensive. It costs you a lot. It's that saying, what you pay versus what it costs you. You have to look at things like that. My Omi says, shine my light into this world. Ye little gods. We're only given but so much time to do what we're actually supposed to do. So people say, get on your purpose, get on your purpose, get on this. The word's used too loosely. It's called, for me, I'm gonna say, get on your discovery, because I think once you discover who you are, you're already in your purpose. And that's actually in your daily routines. You might not even realize it. Walk in your discovery. Then you'll discover you're the light and you're the salt. You know, this is what inner strength is. This is what power is. This is what kingship is. This is what godhood is. You know, this is what righteousness is. This is what right standing means. Just want to leave y'all with that. While the other stream, is going through that shadow ban period. I wanted to put this out there. You know, and I tried to harp on the things. You know, as soon as I put out something, or you know someone is associated with me put out something, someone gives their regurgitated version, the watered down stuff, which is fine. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you know I guess it's what it comes down to. you know all the disciples wanted to be like Yehuda. Okay. They all want to break bread with their God. They want to be a part of what I'm doing, and it's fine. you know Many blessings to them. I mean, they're copying the right cat, at least. And you know this thing of ours, you know it's just like that. Blessings and peace. Actually, I could probably spit for a few more minutes. you know a lot of people believe that we actually have only access to 7 chakras. A lot of people don't even realize there's actually 13. You got to think about it. Remember the 13 colonies. These numbers are being thrown around us, man. We got to pay attention to numbers. Numbers are very important. Numbers control the world. It's tapping into that 13th chakra. You know, there's worlds and universes beyond, this, beyond what we see. And we have access to that. Let's think about what the number 12 represents. You know, the masculine divine principle, the left and right state of consciousness, Adam and Eve, Atom and Eve, right? The 12 disciples, or the 12 faculties of man in his state of being. Oh, yeah, 13 chakras, brother. 13. You know, the reason why it'll be hard is complicated to tap into that, because of the things that are pulling us down. You know, it's the stuff that they put in our food, stuff that they put in our garments, uh, the air that we breathe. It really prevents us from you know elevating to that place. Also the things that we listen to and watch. So I don't really watch television. I'm not going to allow something to program me. you know tell you a vision. No, let me tell you a vision. My vision, my television is from within. My programming is from within. You know, what Steve Jobs is to a computer is what I am to my surroundings. You know, I'm in control of my own life. I'm in control of my own destiny. As I said before, a lot of people like to believe that, God um, is in control of you being poor or rich. You know, I believe that's a poverty mindset and that's a way of shucking the responsibility, or shucking away your own. Um, Let me stick to that. Let me stick to that. Your responsibility, because a lot of us are too lazy to develop our own happiness. And that's why we go into these little buildings and get these, you know, um, cookie cutter teaching lessons that don't do anything. They don't, uplift, don't elevate. You know, it does something maybe to the dopamine, kind of get that feeling of excitement, but it's just like being on a roller coaster ride. You know, you have to actually define, what is happiness to you. And happiness is based on what's happening. Now, can you actually be happy? Absolutely. You know, it's remaining happy. You know, so that's actually just joy overflowing. But your happiness comes from, what you were originally, you know, created to do. Now, as a man, you were tilling the ground. You were tilling the ground of your understanding. You were tilling the ground of your earth, your mental plane. See, as you discover who you are, you find your happiness in that, because you're finding your purpose. Now, if you look at the woman, she found her happiness in serving that. Now, this is when you actually have needs that are beyond, primal, because a woman is only going to rise up to the level, of the need that you have, or that you're aware of, to where she can actually accommodate that. See, a woman supplements you, she doesn't complete you. Complete her as the whole. She does the knowledge with you until she becomes the equivalent. There's nothing in nature that is equal, but there are things that are equivalent, because equivalence, it means it has the same effect but in a different way. You know, we need to really understand our roles. Before we start running around saying, uh, this and that, you got to understand what qualifies you. You know, what defines you. This is going to go over a lot of people's head, and I expect it to. You know, this is more than a think piece. You know, I'm just not really into doing that C spot run. You know, nonsense. It has to provoke you, to actually think and rethink and think responsibly. What is the purpose of me actually opening my mouth if I don't do that? Sure, I could tell a good joke here and there, but you know, with us melanated people, we have to stop being stupid. You know, you enjoy being stupid? Is it like being high? I mean, it's a good question. You can't blame, you know, you can't blame these white people, man, for what they did. They are who they are. Um, you know, that's what they were created to do. Okay, you got to find out what you were created to do and why you're here. You know, seeking ye shall find. You know, destroy and rebuild, and add on after that. Knowledge reborn. Okay, as Supreme Elohim, as the seven chakras, the seven uh, seas, the seven states of consciousness. The the man navigates those seas. You know, but yeah, I'm actually gonna. But yeah, I just wanted to give y'all something because I think while that shadow banning, you know, had something else, in mind that I share with you instead of actually just doing an upload one, just kick it off the top, you know. Actually I do it on my uploads anyway. Just kick it off the top. But you know, just gotta show people. Even though I have nothing to prove, but I don't know, it's just in the mood to just give y'all that because I don't know what's going on with this goofy ass YouTube thing. Excuse my language. I try not to curse on this one. I'm working on it, but who cares? You got a great message, and stay blessed and be lifted, and walk in your discovery. You know, walk in your awareness. Now, I wasn't the first one to come up. I spoke on things like that, but Man Cave blogging channel was the one that really championed the self actualization thing. You know, I mean, you can't really improve on a damn state. You know, you develop through awareness, discovery of that awareness, and once you become that awareness, you got to move differently. Period. It's not about what you say. It's just going to be how you move. You're moving differently. I don't breathe the same as everyone else. I don't feel the same as everyone else. I don't think the same as everyone else. I mean, my thoughts are not everyone else's thoughts. My ways are not everyone else's ways. In all my ways, I'm going to be acknowledged as a true king. Blessings.